What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the channel, and we are cutting right to the chase today, as over the past hour at the time of recording this, SNY has tweeted out an article stating that the Mets have been in preliminary discussions with the Minnesota Twins on a potential trade, highlighting veteran third baseman Josh Donaldson. So that's what we'll be breaking down in today's video. Everything there is to know about Josh Donaldson, his game, what he would bring to the Mets, what kind of trade package we could possibly see, and the other players that could be potentially a part of this deal as a blockbuster even, and so much more. So as always, make sure you stay all the way until the end of the video. Find all the details and all my thoughts on Donaldson, the Mets, the current connection, and if this is a positive and or negative. And if you guys end up enjoying this kind of Mets content and you want to see more great Mets content like this, please do not hesitate from smashing that like and subscribe button, sharing this video with your friends, put on the notification bell, all those great things. Thank you so much for the continued support, guys. Now let's jump right into today's video. Here we have veteran third baseman in Josh Donaldson, currently in his second year of a 4-year, $90+ million contract, finds himself on the outside looking in with the Twins and their future plans. Donaldson, even at the age of 35, is still very much bringing the rain down with a respectable 13 home runs, 30+ RBIs, over 800 OPS, and getting plenty of walks per usual, as he's done all throughout his career now this season with the Minnesota Twins thus far. And one thing that has always stood out about Josh Donaldson and his game is the consistent power, being a 7-time 29+ home run hitter, 7 straight seasons to be exact if you're not counting 2018 and 2020, where he was out the majority of those years due to injury. A 2-time AL Silver Slugger in 2015 and 2016 with the Toronto Blue Jays, also in 2015 an AL MVP for the club, but is most recently known for in 2019, where he was the NL Comeback Player of the Year for the Atlanta Braves, putting up a ridiculous 37 home runs, 94 RBIs, 100 walks, and a +10 DRS, which is defense run saves for the position of third base. Josh is exactly what many teams will be looking for at the trade deadline, including the New York Mets. Before I go any further, Mets fans, let me just say, talk about timing. The last video on the channel was regarding Jose Barrios, Josh Donaldson's teammate no less, and how he would be a strong fit for the New York Mets, what kind of trade package we could see in any connection there. I broke that down, so check it out in the description down below. But the day after making that video, Jeff Passan, MLB reporter for ESPN, came out with an article stating that the Mets very much have a guy like Jose Barrios as a prime trade target, along with a lot of other teams, as they would like to add starting pitching depth by the trade deadline. And now we see another connection with the Minnesota Twins here through this article, that the Mets are already in preliminary discussions with the Twins. And while things haven't advanced tremendously yet, we know that Josh Donaldson is a contract the Twins would absolutely love to part ways with, and the Mets would absolutely love to upgrade the third base position. And you're probably wondering, Tyler, why does a guy like Josh Donaldson make sense when JD Davis has been really good offensively for the most part? Yes, he had a down 2020, but he had a great start this year. He's been dealing with injuries, but he's on the rehab assignment. He'll be back soon, right? Don't get me wrong, that is very much the case, but the Mets don't have reliability with a guy like JD Davis. One, because of his injuries, and two, because of his lack of consistency at the actual third base position. The defense simply has not been there, as we know. And Jonathan VR, don't get me wrong, he's been a huge bright spot for the Mets this year, has come up unbelievably clutch, but he's not a natural third baseman. He only had a handful of games at third base going into this season in which he played above expectations more often than not for them, and being awesome when actually getting on base consistently. But the Mets want a guy that they know can help them, not just from a defensive side of things, but more than anything right now, offensively. The Mets have been absolutely abysmal at the plate this year. They are a bottom feeder. They are the worst team right now, basically halfway through the season when it comes to actual RBIs. They are last in the league right now at the time of recording this. And what is a guy like Josh Donaldson bringing to this club that lacks so much home run hitting power, that lacks so much awareness to actually get the ball deeper than the infield? It's a guy like Josh Donaldson. Look at his advanced numbers here through Baseball Savant. He's in the high percentiles for hard hit rate, X batting average. You have everything here. Slugging. He brings the power. He's done it consistently. He did it so well with the Braves, and I hated him so much when he was with the Braves just as a Mets fan, because he dominated them in his short stint there. And I was so relieved when he went to Minnesota, knowing we don't have to deal with that in the division anymore. But I'd be damned if I said that I wouldn't be ecstatic to see him with the Mets, even on this type of contract, because what do you get? You don't get just a guy like Josh Donaldson, who, if he came to the club, would already tie the Mets in a home run lead with 13 with Pete Alonso. He would also be first in on-base percentage, slugging, and OPS. yes, that is the impact he brings. He's a high personality guy. He's an infectious guy. I think he'd get along really well with especially a guy like Pete Alonso. He's been really vocal. He's been out in the news lately because I know that he's been having debacles with guys like Lucas Giolito. Same thing earlier in the season, calling out guys like Garrett Cole notably, and being very open about it when it comes to substance abuse with guys that are especially using stuff like Spire Tack and others that are manipulating their spin rate. Josh Donaldson's a vet in this league, and he really just doesn't care. He has no filter. He's always been like this. He's a very emotional player, and I love that about him, and he's just been in a lot of situations lately, but no less, there's no denying that he is very much a great player and would bring a huge impact to the Mets. And what's even more important about this situation, guys, is if the Mets were in a situation like they are kind of right now, if things progress to land Josh Donaldson, that can help them even further getting another guy from the Minnesota Twins like a Jose Barrios. And if you're wondering why, it is because of that contract. The Twins want nothing to do with that contract. They are a team that's a bottom feeder. They're probably going in a retool/rebuild by the trade deadline going forward. They can't afford that contract anymore. They want nothing to do with it. So if you get rid of that contract, that can help you with a Barrios deal as part of a blockbuster. You can potentially get that deal without having to give up the same amount of top prospects like you originally were, because Jose Barrios at the age of 27 is very much in the prime of his career, having a career high season currently in all of his numbers at the time of recording this, and he's just getting started in his MLB career. So you can land both. That's a great thing. And when you look at potential players you'd have to cough up in this deal, as I said in my last video with Barrios, if there's one top prospect that does come in mind to me, it is a guy like Ronnie Mauricio. But things could very well be different if you land Josh Donaldson and a guy like Barrios. Maybe you don't have to give up a Mauricio. Maybe you have to give up a Vientos, if you will. Maybe some other potential pitching prospects as well, like a David Pearson or a Skapuki. I always pronounce his name wrong, so I apologize. But the Southpaw just made his MLB debut for the Mets against the Braves, in which he didn't do too hot, as we know. But not that I want to get rid of David Pearson, but if you're going to do it to get a guy like Barrios in a bigger deal like this, I'm not against it, because the Twins do need starting pitching depth going forward, and he has a lot of term and control on his contract, or just other prospects that are maybe more so out of the top 10 that you're willing to part ways with. And if there is a deal to really jump on to not just help the Mets now, but going forward, it is a blockbuster like this. You don't just get Jose Barrios, but Josh Donaldson. He would bring the rain to Queens and actually be on our side and not against us like he usually is against the Braves, guys. Trust me when I say this is all coming from the heart. I really think this would be a fantastic move. And for any of you wondering and thinking that, oh, the contract, it's terrible, don't get me wrong, the contract ain't pretty, but it will not hurt the Mets. They are not going to make a deal for a guy like Josh Donaldson if they're not comfortable with eating that salary. Even if they end up buying it out, well, they wouldn't buy it out, of course. If they ended up in a situation where Donaldson wasn't the starting third baseman, say a year or two from now in his final year, it doesn't matter. They will be able to eat it just fine. That's why they're showing interest, and that's why the article is reporting that the Mets are looking for a third baseman, not just a guy like Josh Donaldson, but they have been having continued interest in Chris Bryant. But with Chris Bryant doing well this year and looking like the Cubs may very well not be selling as much as they probably should be, for sure should be at the trade deadline competing in the NL Central, Donaldson is more of a safer pick right now. He's a guy that'll help you now with playoff experience, bring a lot of emotion to this club. In my mind, view him as like a Todd Frazier, if you will, with having a great personality in the clubhouse, but just couldn't put it together performance-wise. Imagine that same kind of impact, the same kind of feel, but would actually help you offensively. That is still very much in a great prime of his career, even if it's towards the latter half. He's getting on base plenty. Yes, he has a high swing and miss rate a little bit, but trust me, this guy would bring so much to the Mets, and I'm very much in favor for it personally. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, Mets fans. Do you love the idea of the Mets landing a guy like Josh Donaldson? Do you not love the idea of the Mets landing a guy like Josh Donaldson, and everything in between? Let me know in the comments below. Give me some mock trades if you will. I would love to hear it. And of course, make sure to comment. It helps out the algorithm. If you guys end up enjoying this kind of Mets content and you want to see more great Mets content like this, again, please do not hesitate from smashing that like and subscribe button, sharing this video with your friends, on the notification bell, all those great things. This is so much fun to make. I'm so excited for what the future holds leading up to the trade deadline, and get ready for more great Mets content as always. Thank you so much again, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll talk to you soon.